This part of your confession will save more millions of people from your control than all the remainder of it.
All I can say is that you have me in a hell of a situation,
Welcome back to River Queen Conjure, No Narc Network TV, and Oshun Ajay exclusive. I am the Oracle / BadassWitch, Oshun Ajay. I'm not going to hold you up too long, you guys. We are on lesson 11. Let's get it.
Now you shall know how the millions of your victims feel. Let's have it.
I make my first entry into an individual's mind by bribing him.
What do you use as a bribe?
I use many things, all of them pleasant things the individual covets. I use the same sort of bribes that individuals use when they bribe one another. That is, I use for bribes the things people most want. My best bribes are these: love, the thirst for sex expression, covetousness for money, the obsessive desire to gain something for nothing, gambling, vanity in women, egotism in men, desire to be the master of others, desire for intoxicants and narcotics, desire for self-expression through words and deeds, desire to imitate others, desire for the perpetuation of life after death, desire to be a hero or heroine, desire for physical food.
That is an imposing list of bribes, Your Majesty. Do you use others?
Yes, plenty of them, but these are my favorites. Through some combination of them, I can enter the mind of any human being at will at any age from birth until death.
You mean that these bribes are the keys with which you can silently unlock the door to any mind you choose?
That is exactly what I mean, and I can do it too.
What happens when you enter the mind of a person who is not yet in the habit of drifting, but belongs in the 98% class as a potential drifter?
I go to work immediately to occupy as much of that person's mind as I can master. If the individual's greatest weakness is the desire for money, I begin to dangle coins before him, figuratively speaking. I intensify his desire and induce him to go after money. Then when he gets near it, I snatch it away from him. This is an old trick of mine. After the trick has been repeated a few times, the poor fellow gives in and quits. Then I take over a little more space in his mind and fill it with the fear of poverty. That is one of my best mind fillers.
Yes, I admit your method is very clever, but what happens if the victim fools you and gets his hands on a lot of money? You don't fill his mind with the fear of poverty then, do you?
No, I don't. I take over the space by filling it with something which serves my purpose just as well. If the victim converts his desire for money into large sums, I start overfeeding him with the things he can buy with it. For example, I cause him to stuff himself with rich foods. This slows down his thinking capacity, endangers his heart, and starts him on the road to drifting. Then I pester him with intestinal poisoning through the surplus food he eats. That also slows down his thinking and gives him a nasty disposition.
What if the victim is not a glutton? What other follies can you induce him to pick up that lead to drifting?
If the victim is a male, I can usually snare him through his sex appetite. Overindulgence in sex starts more men to drifting toward failure than all other causes combined.
So food and sex are two of your surefire baits, is that correct?
Yes. With these two lures, I can take over a majority of my victims. And then there is the desire for money.
I'm beginning to think that wealth is more dangerous than poverty, if your story is to be believed.
That altogether depends on who has the wealth and how it was acquired.
What has the manner in which money is acquired to do with its being a blessing or a curse?
Everything. If you don't believe me, take a look at those who acquire a large amount of money quickly, without time to get wisdom along with it, and observe how they use it. Why do you suppose rich men's sons seldom equal the achievements of their fathers? I'll tell you why. It is because they have been deprived of the self-discipline which comes from being forced to work. Look into the records of moving picture stars or athletes who suddenly find themselves in possession of big money and hero worship and praise from the public. Observe how quickly I move in and take them over in many cases. Mainly through sex, gambling, food, and liquor. With these, I catch and control the biggest and the best of people as soon as they get their hands on big money.
What about those who acquire money slowly, by rendering some form of useful service? Are they easily snared too?
Oh, I get them all right, but I generally have to change my bait. Some of them want one thing, and others want something else. Where my purpose is best served, I see to it that they get what they want most, but I manage to wrap in the package something they don't want. The thing I give them is the definite thing that makes them drifters. Do you see how I work?
And very clever work it is. You lure people on through their natural desires, but you slip your deadly poison into the object of those desires wherever you can.
Now you are catching on. You see, I play both ends against the middle, so to speak.
From all you say, I infer that you cannot induce a non-drifter to help you gain control of his mind by baiting him with your bribes. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct. I can, and I do, interest non-drifters in my bribes, because I use for the purpose of bribery the things all people naturally desire. But the non-drifter resembles a fish that steals the bait from your hook, but refuses to take the hook. The non-drifter takes from life whatever he wants, but he takes it on his own terms. The drifter takes whatever he can get, but he takes what he gets on my terms. Stating the matter in another way, the non-drifter borrows money from a legitimate banker if he wants it, and pays a legitimate rate of interest. The drifter goes to the pawn shop, hawks his watch, and pays a suicidal rate of interest for his loan.
So I draw from your claims the conclusion that your hand is mixed up somehow in all of people's troubles and miseries, even though your presence may not be visible.
My unwilling workers are often my best workers.
After they found my baby dead, they couldn't even help us. The bastards! They couldn't even help us.
You see, my unwilling workers are those whom I cannot control with some combination of bribes. People whom I have to master by fear.
I went over to Teresa's page, and sure enough, he has passed. She put up a post 6 hours ago. It says, "My babe brother, J Money Kanika Capper, you can keep an eye over Kanika Martin. I love you, brother. Peace."
Or through some form of misfortune.
She's lost her daughter, and she's lost her brother, from what we know.
They do not wish to serve me, but they cannot avoid it.
You know what? The protest is over.
Because they are eternally bound to me by the habit of drifting.
Now I am beginning to better understand your technique. You bribe your victims through their natural desires and lead them astray while you induce them to become drifters if they respond to your lure. If they refuse to respond, you plant the seed of fear in their minds or trap them through some form of misfortune and hog-tie them while they are down. Is that your method?
That is exactly the way I work. Clever, don't you think?
Which do you prefer to serve as your propagandists, the young or the old?
The young, of course. They can be influenced by most bribes more easily than people of mature judgment. Moreover, they have longer to remain in my service.
Your Majesty has given me a clear description of drifting. Tell me what must be done to ensure against the habit of drifting. I want a complete formula that anyone can use.
Protection against drifting lies within easy reach of every human being who has a normal body and a sound mind. The self-defense can be applied through these simple methods. 1. Do your own thinking on all occasions. The fact that human beings are given complete control over nothing save the power to think their own thoughts is laden with significance.
So most of us are aware that thoughts become things. The reason why a lot of people's manifestations do not take form is because most people are not aware of the process, the mental alchemy, and the emotional charge that must be added in order to transform your thoughts into beliefs to which you can attach a strong enough emotional charge to push your manifestation from the confines of your mind into the physical reality. Okay?
2. Decide definitely what you want from life, then create a plan for attaining it, and be willing to sacrifice everything else if necessary, rather than accept permanent defeat.
So like I said before, guys, going forward on any endeavor, especially those things that you want the most, expect obstacles to be thrown in your way, and do not allow those quote unquote failures to defeat you, but allow them to motivate you to try harder, to raise your vibrations by any means necessary. Okay?
3. Analyze temporary defeat, no matter of what nature or cause, and extract from it the seed of an equivalent advantage.
In other words, instead of being defeated by failures, you can choose to transmute those thoughts and emotions into new beliefs charged with new emotions that will in turn create something magical and beautiful. Okay?
4. Be willing to render useful service equivalent to the value of all material things you demand of life, and render the service first.
So anything you wish to obtain or acquire in this life, including spiritual wisdom and or power, requires an equal energy exchange. Okay, so to the exact degree that you put in the work, will you receive your reward. Okay?
5. Recognize that your brain is a receiving set that can be attuned to receive communications from the universal storehouse of infinite intelligence, to help you transmute your desires into their physical equivalent.
In other words, you must understand that your brain is a magic box that begins to give form to whatever you hold in it, okay? So you can intentionally program your brain to think higher vibrating thoughts, which then become beliefs, which hold a strong enough emotional charge to push your manifestations from the confines of your mind, again, out into the physical reality. This is the mental and emotional alchemy that signifies transmutation, okay?
6. Recognize that your greatest asset is time, the only thing except the power of thought which you own outright, and the one thing which can be shaped into whatever material things you want. Budget your time so none of it is wasted.
So instead of spending so much time watching television and social media, watching scripted programs designed to entertain an idle mind, we could be spending our time meditating and consciously focusing our minds and programming our minds to think higher vibrating thoughts that will in turn help us to mentally and emotionally build a better reality for ourselves. Okay?
7. Recognize the truth that fear generally is a filler with which the devil occupies the unused portion of your mind.
So this false evidence appearing real is inserted into the empty portions of your mind. Hence the expression, an idle mind is the devil's playground. Okay?
That it is only a state of mind which you can control by filling the space it occupies with faith in your ability to make life provide you with whatever you demand of it.
Once you truly believe in the power of your own mind to create your own reality, you will no longer be leaving parts of your mind unoccupied, but you will be using every part of your mind to help shape the world that you want to live in. This intentional and deliberate use of your own mind power to create your own reality is what signifies definiteness of purpose. Okay?
8. When you pray, do not beg. Demand what you want and insist upon getting exactly that with no substitutes.
So when you fully understand that that which you call God is not separate from you, but is within you, then you use that power in a different way. You do not send your prayers outside of yourself to be fulfilled by some deity outside of yourself, but you allow the deity that is within yourself to speak into being those things that you wish to be made manifest. Okay?
9. Recognize that life is a cruel taskmaster, and that either you master it or it masters you. There is no halfway or compromising point. Never accept from life anything you do not want. If that which you do not want is temporarily forced upon you, you can refuse in your own mind to accept it, and it will make way for the thing you do want.
So when you find yourself in a narcissistic relationship or in any form of reality that you do not agree with, that you do not wish to experience, the power to change that entire reality does lie within the power of your own thoughts and emotions. Okay?
10. Lastly, remember that your dominating thoughts attract, through a definite law of nature, by the shortest and most convenient route, their physical counterpart. Be careful what thoughts you dwell upon.
This takes a moment-to-moment, thought-to-thought checking of the origin and the quality of your own thought. This is the work that you must be ready and willing to put in order to become a conscious creator of your own reality. Okay.
That list looks imposing. Give me a simple formula, combining all the 10 points. If you had to combine all 10 in one, what would it be?
Be definite in everything you do and never leave unfinished thoughts in the mind.
So you must search within yourself until you have some understanding of your purpose for being here. You have to determine what you are passionate about in this life and what the life that you want to live is going to look like, okay? And you then must hold these thoughts and the vibration of that reality in your mind and in your emotions until it begins to form itself around you, okay?
Form the habit of reaching definite decisions on all subjects.
When you learn to hold a clear and definite picture of that which you wish to create in your mind automatically begins to create it.
Can the habit of drifting be broken, or does it become permanent once it has been formed?
The habit can be broken if the victim has enough willpower, providing it is done in time. There is a point beyond which the habit can never be broken. Beyond that point, the victim is mine. He resembles a fly that has been caught in a spider's web. He may struggle, but he cannot get out. Each move he makes entangles him more securely. The web in which I entangle my victims permanently is a law of nature not yet isolated by or understood by men of science.
What is this mysterious law through which you take permanent control of people's bodies, even before you take over their souls? The whole world will want to know more about this law and how it operates.
It will be hard to describe the law so you will understand it, but you may call it hypnotic rhythm, hypnotic rhythm, hypnotic rhythm. It is the same law through which people can be hypnotized.
So you have the power to use the laws of nature as a web in which you bind your victims in eternal control. Is that your claim?
That is not only my claim, it is the truth. I take over their minds and bodies even before they die whenever I can lure them or frighten them into hypnotic rhythm.
What is hypnotic rhythm? How do you use it to gain permanent mastery over human beings?
I will have to go back into time and space and give you a brief, elementary description of how nature uses hypnotic rhythm. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand my description of how I use this universal law to control human beings.
Go ahead, but keep your story confined to simple illustrations which come within the range of my own experience and knowledge of natural laws.
Very well. I shall do my best. You, of course, know that nature maintains a perfect balance between all the elements and all the energy in the universe. You can see that the stars and the planets move with perfect precision, each one keeping its own place in time and space. You can see that the seasons of the year come and go with perfect regularity. You can see that an oak tree grows from an acorn, and a pine grows from the seed of its ancestor. An acorn never produces a pine, and a pine seed never produces an oak. These are simple things which anyone can understand. What one cannot see is the universal law through which nature maintains perfect balance throughout the myriad of universes. You, earthbound, caught a fragmentary glimpse of this great universal law when Newton discovered that it holds your earth in its position and causes all material objects to be attracted toward the center of the earth. He called the law gravitation. But he did not go far enough in his study of the law. If he had, he would have discovered that the same law which holds your earth in position and helps nature maintain a perfect balance over the 4 dimensions, in which all matter and energy are contained, is the web in which I entangle and control the minds of human beings.
Tell me more of this astounding law of hypnotic rhythm.
As I have already stated, there is a universal form of energy with which nature keeps a perfect balance between all matter and energy. She makes specialized use of this universal building material by breaking it up into different wavelengths. The breaking up process is carried on through habit. You will better understand what I am trying to convey if I compare it with the method by which one learns to play music. At first, the notes are memorized in the mind. Then they are related to one another through melody and rhythm. By repetition, the melody and rhythm become fixed in the mind. Observe how relentlessly the musician must repeat a tune before he masters it. Through repetition, the musical notes blend, and then you have music. Any impulse of thought that the mind repeats over and over through habit forms an organized rhythm. Undesirable habits can be broken. They must be broken before they assume the proportions of rhythm. Are you following me?
Yes.
Well, to continue. Rhythm is the last stage of habit. Any thought or physical movement which is repeated over and over through the principle of habit finally reaches the proportion of rhythm. Then the habit cannot be broken, because nature takes it over and makes it permanent. It is something like a whirlpool in water. An object may keep floating indefinitely unless it is caught in a whirlpool. Then it is carried round and round, but it cannot escape. The energy with which people think may be compared with water in a river.
So this is the way in which you take control of the minds of people, is it?
Yes. All I have to do to gain control over any mind is to induce its owner to drift.
Am I to understand that the habit of drifting is the major danger through which people lose their prerogative or privilege of thinking their own thoughts and shaping their own earthly destinations?
That and much more. Drifting is also the habit through which I take over their souls after they give up their physical bodies.
Then the only way a human being can be saved from eternal annihilation is by maintaining control over his own mind while he is on this earth. Is that true? Maintaining control over his own mind while he is on this earth. Is that true? Maintaining control over his own mind while he is on this earth. Is that true?
You have stated the truth perfectly. You have stated the truth perfectly. Perfectly.
If you have headphones, you'll want to use your headphones during this portion of the lesson so that your energy vibration fine-tuned using the power of sound. Adjust the volume in your headphones. Place your body in a comfortable position. Relax the mind, and join the private No Narc network for exclusive content, all of the Dissecting the Devil lessons, and the remainder of this guided meditation. Okay, we are at the end of lesson 11, my people. I do invite you guys to join because things are about to get very interesting in the network. I thank everyone for coming. I do still have Nature Boy on the docket to be read on Badass Tarot 2. You guys, I just need to gather my energies, and I will try to get that done by the end of the day today. Okay, if you would like to support the channel, the Cash App and Cash App and PayPal links are in the description box. And again, if you would like to join the private No Narc network, subscribe to Oshun Ajay exclusive on Patreon or BadassWitch exclusive on Subscriibstar. And if you are interested in seeing the ways in which we are slaying and exposing these narcissists, be sure to subscribe to No Narc Network TV on YouTube. Okay, so until we meet again, my people, keep it classy, keep it clean, and do what you got to do to make shit happen. Peace.